Hello guys, hello. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss some numericals based on circular dynamics. Okay, so let's get into the questions. So first question which we have over here is, in this question, we have been given a erect, we have been given an erect rod. Okay, and on this erect rod, we have attached one rope, and on this rope there is a attached block. Okay, so this rod is erect, and this rod is rotating with a constant angular velocity of 1 radians per second. This rod is rotating with a constant velocity, angular velocity of 1 radian per second. Okay, mass of this block is given as 10 kg. Mass of this block is given as 10 kg. This length over here of this rope is given as 2 meter. Okay, and what is asked over here is, what will be the tension developed in the rope? What will be the tension developed in the rope? This is the question. Okay, so let's try to do this question. So over here what we can do is, first approach is by directly using centripetal force analysis, but I will not be using that. Okay, I'll be using centrifugal force analysis. I will be directly using the pseudo force of centripetal force. And what is the reason for that? The best thing which I like about this is centrifugal analysis is that we can draw it in the diagram and we can directly balance the forces along the center line. Are you getting it? So what I'll do is, I'll first create a free body diagram of this block. So free body diagram will look something like this: 10 kg block. Okay, along the radius, if you try to see, the circle will be in the horizontal plane. Over here the circle will be in the horizontal plane. So if you try to draw the forces along the center of the circle, there are only two forces. One will be tension, which will be somewhere here, and one will be outside, which is pseudo force of centripetal force, m omega square r. Why am I using m omega square r? Why am I not using mv square by r? Because over here the value which is given to me is omega, so I am directly using m omega square r. Now as soon as I have applied centrifugal force, then what I can do is I can balance the forces along the center line. So tension is equals to m omega square r. M over here is 10 kg, omega is 1, r is 2 meters. So tension will come out to be 20 Newton. 20 Newton. 10 into 1 square into 2. 20 Newton. Okay, let's get into the next question, guys. Let's try the next question. So next question is also similar. In this next question also we have an erect rod. In the next question also we have an erect rod, and this rod this time is moving with 2 radians per second. The angular velocity is this time 2 radians per second. Okay, and over here also we have attached blocks, but this time we have attached two blocks, one after the another. Okay, first block take it as 5 kg, second block take it as 10 kg. This rope r1, this rope I am naming r1, and this rope I am naming r2. These are two different ropes, right? Length of first rope, let us take it as 1 meter. Length of second rope, let's take it as 2 meter. Okay, same question over here as well. What are the tensions developed in the ropes? Now this question you can try yourself. Okay, one question I have done for you. Okay, so what you can do is, you can pause the video, try this question, and then you can continue with the video. Okay, so let's move on. So over here what I will do is, I will draw free body diagram of both the blocks, 5 kg as well as 10 kg. Again the circle over here is in horizontal plane. So I don't need to worry about mg will be downwards, so that will not be along the center line. So if I draw the forces only along center line, there will be one tension for the rope 1, let us name it tension 1, and one tension for the rope 2, let us name it tension 2. This is my 5 kg block. This is my 5 kg block. This is my 5 kg block, and this is my 10 kg block. 10 kgs. 10 kg. Okay. So over here, what are the forces? Over here, only tension 2 is there. No tension 1, only tension 2. T2 is there. along the center line. Okay, and if I want to write pseudo force, if I want to use the pseudo force analysis or centrifugal force analysis, what I will do is I will add m omega square r to both of them. Okay, so over here with T2 I will add m1, let us name it m1. Okay, omega square, omega is common for both of them, and let us name r also r1, because r for this one will be 1 meter, r for this 10 kg block will be 2 meter. Okay, and for this one the centrifugal force will be m2 omega square r2. I hope you understood the directions of these. Both of them are away from the center line, both of them are outwards. Try to imagine, both of them I have drawn outwards. Centripetal force is inwards towards the center of the circle, centrifugal is always outside the circle, away from the center of the circle. Okay, so what you can do over here is you can simply balance the forces now, because we have used centrifugal force. So T1 will become equal to T2 plus m1 omega square r1. Done. This is the equation from where you can get T1 T2 relation, and one T2 value. Okay, directly T2 value you can get from here as well. Okay, T2 is equals to m2 omega square r2. So you can get the value of T2 from this equation, then you can substitute it over here in this equation. So from here you will get the value of T1 as well. Okay, let us solve it. Let us solve it completely. So m2 is given 10, omega over here is given 2, so it will become 4. So 40 into 2, 80. So this will be T2 will be 80 Newton. T2 is 80 Newton. Okay, and over here if you write 80 plus, this is 5, 4, 2 square is 4, and then 1. So 4, 5, 20. So this will be 20. So this total will be 100 Newton. 100 Newton. Okay. Please check it out. Okay, let's come to the third question, guys. So third question also is a similar question. Over here also we have a erect rod, but in this case we have three blocks, 1 kg, 2 kg and 3 kg at 1 meter, 2 meter and 3 meter from the rod, and rod is moving with a omega 5 radians per second. So over here we have three different ropes. Okay, so you have to find tension in all the three ropes. So this question also you can first give it a try by yourself, and then you can continue the video. Okay, so over here let's draw a free body diagram for all the three blocks first. Okay, 1 kg, 2 kg and 3 kg. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 तेरा करूं गिन 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 के इंतजार आजा पिया आई बहार. Okay, so over here, so this is the actual free body diagram. These are the actual free body diagrams without any pseudo force. Okay, these are the actual free body diagrams. T1 is the tension in rope 1, T2 in rope 2, T3 in rope 3. Okay, but over here I will again use centrifugal force, that is a pseudo force for centripetal force. Okay, I will not assume centripetal force, I will directly assume centrifugal force and balance the forces along the center line. So T2 plus m omega square r, but m1 and r1 omega is common. Okay, then T3 plus m omega square r, m2 and r2. Then over here separately m omega square r, m3 and r3, okay. So m1 1 kg, m2 2 kg, m3 3 kg, r1 1 meter, r2 2 meter, r3 3 meter. Substitute the values, equate the forces, you will get the answer. You have to equate the forces along the center line, because after applying pseudo force, the forces along the direction where you have applied pseudo force becomes zero. Net force becomes zero. Okay, so let us equate and find out the values. Okay, let us start from T3 this time. Okay, so T3 is directly m3 was 3 kg, right? 3 into, this is 5 25 multiplied by again 3, So this will become how much? 925. This is 225. This will be 225, 225, 225 Newton. 225 Newton. Okay. So over here, T2 can be written as T3, which is 225 Newton, plus this is 2 multiplied by 25 multiplied by again 2. So this will become how much? 100. So this will become total 325 Newton. 325 Newton. Okay. So over here T1 equals to 325 Newton plus M1 is 1, then omega 525, and then again 1, so again 25. So this is only 25. This is only 25. So this will become 350 Newton. 350 Newton. So the answers are 350, 325, and 225 Newtons respectively. Okay, don't forget to give respect. Do not forget to give respect. Okay, be it a question or an elder, do not forget to give respect. Aha, क्या बात, क्या बात, क्या बात, क्या बात, क्या बात, क्या बात, क्या बात. अरे 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Sorry guys, sorry भैया, sorry भैया. Okay, so let's come to the next question. Now let us take some other type of example. So in this fourth question, what we'll do is we'll do a vertical circle question. Okay, vertical circle question. So in the fourth question, take a hinge point, take one hinge point. This is my hinge point. Okay, and one rope is attached to this, so it will lie down, right? If you attach a rope, if you hinge a rope somewhere, what will happen? It will just fall down, like not fall down, it will just lie. Okay, simply it will just loosen up and it will lie like this. Okay, so over here what I'm doing is, after hinging the rope from one end, I am placing a block on this side. Okay, let us consider block mass as 10 kg, and at this point of time I have given a velocity of 5 meter per second to this block. The radius of this circular motion, or the length of this rope, is given as 2 meter. This will become the radius of the vertical circle. Try to imagine. The vertical circle will look something like this. This is my vertical circle. So this 2 meter will become radius of that vertical circle. Okay. So this time the circular motion will happen in vertical plane. Okay. It will happen in vertical plane. So over here what I will do is, again I'll draw free body diagram. In that I will draw all the forces which are actually acting. Then I will draw a extra force, which is the pseudo force for centripetal force, and then I will balance the forces along the center line only. Are you getting it? I can balance the forces along the center line, the line about which I am applying pseudo force. Okay, the line about which I am applying the pseudo force. So this is 10 kgs, this is 10 kgs, so this will be mg. So this time mg will also come into picture. This is nothing but mg. It's a vertical circular motion this time. Okay, so mg is also important over here. Mg will also be important over here. Okay, now tension over here will be in upward direction. Tension over here will be upward direction. Let us take it as T. So these are the actual forces, but over here, if we apply pseudo force, it will be very easy. Then we can simply balance the forces along this line. Okay, so let us apply pseudo force as well. So pseudo force over here will be towards mg only, right? So I will write m v square by r. M over here is 10 kg, v over here is 5, so 5 square divided by r is 2 meter. Okay, so this is my free body diagram, including, this is my free body diagram. Sorry guys, extremely sorry. माफी दे दीजिए, माफी हुजूर, माफी दे दीजिए, माफी माफी माफी. Okay, so this is my free body diagram. Tension along the towards the center, mg and m omega square r in this case are both of these are in opposite direction of the center. Okay, so now after applying pseudo force, what I can do is I can balance these forces. So tension will be equals to mg plus mv square by r. So tension will come out to be 10 into 25 divided by 2 plus 100. Okay, 100. Okay, so this is how much? This is 125, then 225. This is 225 Newton. 225 Newton is the correct answer. 225 Newton is the correct answer. Okay, this is 525, 125, then plus 100. So 225, correct answer. Okay, so tension over here will be 225. This time the circular motion is happening in vertical plane, so mg will also come into equation. Mg will also come into equation. Mg will also come into equation. Please be careful. Please be careful. Please be careful. Tana, 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 tana. Oh, city mari re mari, city mari re mari re mari. Ho ho, mari re mari re mari. Ho ho. Okay, let's take another question. Let's take one more question. So in this case also I am taking vertical plane circular motion only. Okay, fifth question. Over here also I am taking the example of vertical plane circular motion itself. Vertical plane circular motion itself. Okay, I'm taking the example of vertical plane circular motion itself. But this time the object is not at the bottommost point. Okay, let me again create the diagram. So this is my hinge point, this is my rope, and over here is my object. This is my object. Okay, this rope, let's take 1 meter. This angle from the vertical, this angle from the vertical, this angle, let us take it 53 degree. Okay, and over here I'm taking the speed as 10 meter per second. I'm taking the speed as 10 meter per second. Mass of this block I'm taking 2 kg. Mass I am taking as 2 kg. Okay, I think all the values I have given. Angle is given, this is given, this is given. Done. Okay, question is again same. Find out the tension. Okay, find out the tension over here. If you want, you can please pause the video, try it once. Okay, over here also what you have to do is make the free body diagram properly with all the forces directed in their particular directions. Okay, and do not forget to draw centrifugal force. Do not forget to draw centrifugal force. Okay, centrifugal force will be outwards the center, outwards to the circle. Okay, so if the center is in this direction, centrifugal force will be in this direction. Okay, please be careful, please be careful. Okay, so you can pause the video, try it, and then you can continue with the video. Okay, so again same steps. First I'll draw free body diagram of this object. So if I draw free body diagram of this object, it will look something like this. Mg will be downwards, mg will be downwards, tension will be at an angle, tension will be at an angle. Okay, mv square by r, centrifugal force this time, centrifugal force this time will be opposite to the center. It will be opposite to the center. Mv square by r, it will be opposite to the center. Mv square by r, mv square by r will be opposite to the center. If you see carefully, it might not be clear with the diagram, but tension and mv square by r are exactly opposite to each other. In the diagram I think the line is not clear, but they are actually exactly opposite to each other. Tension is towards the center of the circle and mv square by r is in the opposite direction of the center of the circle. Okay, so this is the situation right now. Okay, and after applying pseudo force, after applying this mv square by r, what we can do is we can balance the forces along this center line. After applying these forces, after applying the pseudo force, we can balance the forces along the center line. Underline this point, along the center line. Please underline this point. Okay, so what I will do is I will just break this mg into two components. One will be along the center and one will be tangential to the circle. One will be along the center and one will be tangential to the circle. Okay, so let us mark the angles as well over here. So angle, if I mark the angles, this angle will be how much? This is my tension. Okay, this angle will be 53 degree. This angle will be 53 degree. Check it out. If you see, these two lines are parallel, right? So if this angle is 53 degree, over here, this angle will also be 53 degree. That is what I have done. Okay, 53 degree. That angle will also be 53 degree. Okay, so let us write down 53 degree. 53 degree. Okay, and if this is 53 degree, if this angle is 53 degree, then of course this angle will also be 53 degree. Okay, basic mathematics. Okay, those who have not understood, let me draw one figure over here. So the situation is something like this. So this angle I am writing equal to this angle in the second part over here. I have written this 53 degree because of this logic. Okay, so let us continue, guys. Let's continue. So over here what I'll do is I'll just balance the forces along the center line. So tension will be equals to mv square by r plus mg cos 53 degree. Tension equals to mv square by r plus mg cos 53 degrees. mg cos 53 degrees. mg cos 53 degree. कहाँ गए आलू पकौड़े कहाँ गए आलू पकौड़े कहाँ गए mass is not given 2 kg this is 10 square, so 100. It's given 10 square, right? Wait a second. 10, yes, correct. 10 velocity is 10 divided by 1, then plus mg is 20. Mg will be 20. So 20 multiplied by cos 53 degree. Cos 53 degree is 3 by 5. Cos 53 degree is 3 by 5. So this will become 5, 4. So this is 4 3 is 12. This will be 12 and this is 200, right? So 212 Newton is the correct answer according to my calculations. According to my calculations, 212 Newton is the correct answer. Please check it out, guys. Guys and girls, please check it out. If you are getting some other answers, please don't forget to comment. Okay, then I'll check. 5 4 is 20, 4 3 12. This is 200. It's correct. If you feel that I'm getting some answers, if you feel that the answer, the calculation somewhere is wrong, please don't forget to comment. Okay, the concept is 110% correct. Calculation may be wrong here or there. Okay, so please be careful. Please be careful. The owner of the video will not be liable for any loss because of calculation mistake. Okay. The owner of the video will not be liable for any loss because of calculation mistake. Let's come to the sixth question, guys. Let's not waste too much time in fun. Okay, fun is good, but physics is better. Okay, so again I'll take a question of similar arrangement. I have hinged the rope over here, but this time the angle is a little different. So this time I'm taking the rope like this. Okay, and this is my object over here. Okay, velocity of this object, let us take it in this direction. Okay, it will be tangential, right? It will be tangential to the circle. So this is 10 meter per second. This velocity and this rope, they both will be perpendicular. Okay, so velocity over here is 10 meter per second. Mass, let us assume it as 2 kg. Let us assume the mass as 2 kg. Length of this rope, I am assuming 5 meter. Okay. Now this time what is given is this angle. This time this angle is given as 53 degree. Okay. Question is same, what is the tension in the rope at this instant? What is the tension in the rope at this instant? Okay. Approach is also same. Draw the free body diagram with centrifugal force. Balance the forces along the center line and get the answer. फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम बनाएं, फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम बनाएं और आंसर पाएं. फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम बनाएं और आंसर पाएं. ओके, सो mg is in this direction, tension will be in this direction, and mv square by r will be in this direction. mv square by r will be in this direction. Check it out. This is the whole gameplay. This is the whole gameplay. And over here we have headshot, which is 53 degree. This is my 53 degree. This will also be 53 degree, but I don't need it. I don't need it, but still this is also 53 degree. So tension plus mg cos 53 degree is equals to mv square by r. Tension plus mg cos 53 degree is equal to mv square by r. So basically the equation is similar to this, but this time this mg factor is being added to the tension, not the mv square by r part. Okay, so tension over here can be written as mg cos of 53 degree. I'm really sorry. Tension plus mg cos of 53 degree is equals to mv square by r. Now it's correct. Tension plus mg cos 53 degree is equals to mv square by r. Okay, I want the answer for tension. So tension will be mv square by r. So mv square by r, m is given 2 kg. So 2 is equals multiplied by 100 divided by 5 mv square by r minus 2 into 10 mg cos 53 degree, which is 3 divided by 5. Correct or not? Correct or not? Correct or not? Say yes or no. Say yes or no. Say yes or no. Okay. So over here the value will be how much? This is 20. This is 20. This is 40. 40 minus 40 minus 40 minus 12. 40 minus 12. 40 minus 12. 40 minus 12. 28 Newton. 28 Newton. 28 Newton. The answer is 28 newtons. 28 newtons. Okay. Check it out, guys. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Everybody, check it out. Check it out. And check it out. Everybody, check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Okay, so let's come to the next question. So in the next question, what we have is, we have a hemispherical bowl. In this hemispherical bowl, we have an object whose mass is given as 1 kg and speed at this instant is given as 5 meter per second as shown in the diagram. Okay, the speed is tangentially, right? Okay, the radius of this hemispherical bowl is given as 2 meters and the angle at this instant from the vertical is also given. Okay, what is the value? 37 degrees. So in this situation, you have to find out normal force. In this situation, you have to find out normal force. First, try to understand that at this point, who is providing the centripetal force? Normal. To this small object of 1 kg, the normal is provided to this object. The normal is provided to this object. The normal is provided by the centripetal force. Sorry, the centripetal force is provided by normal force. The centripetal force is provided by normal force. Okay. So what I'll do over here is, I will simply draw the diagram, draw all the forces, and in that I will even draw the pseudo force of centripetal force, which will be centrifugal force, and I will balance the forces along the center line. I will balance the forces along the center line. Okay, so let's start the question. So this is my ball. There will be one force downwards, which is mg. Then normal on this object will be somewhat like this. Okay, normal is like this, mg is like this. Okay, mu over here is not given, so we will assume that there is no friction at all on this object. Okay, now in which direction should I write pseudo force? In which direction should I mention centrifugal force? In the direction opposite to the center of the circle. Okay, in the direction opposite to the center of the circle. So over here, try to imagine the circle first. So circle will look something like this. The circle will look something like this. It's a vertical circle, right? If you try to imagine the circle in which this particle is moving, it will not complete the whole circle for sure, but if you imagine the circle, it will look something like this, and this is a vertical circle. This is a vertical circle. This is a vertical circle. Okay, so the direction of mv square by r, that is centrifugal force, will be opposite to the center. It will be opposite to the center, which will also be in this case opposite to the normal force. Okay, so now what I will do, I will balance the forces along the center line. Don't forget this, balance the forces along the center line only. Okay, so over here what I'll do is I will equate normal equals to mv square by r plus mg cos 37 degree. Mg cos 37 degree. This angle over here will be 37 degree. Think. Why 37 degree? Think. Okay, so normal I will write equals to mg cos 37 degrees plus mv square by r plus mv square by r. So by solving this equation, you will get the value of normal. So let us put the values and solve it. Okay, so mass is given 1 kg, so 1 into 10, so it will become 10 multiplied by 4 by 5 plus this will be 1 multiplied by 25 divided by radius is how much? Radius is given as 2, so this will be 2. Okay, so this is 12.5 and this is 8. Okay, so it will become 8 plus 12.5, 8 plus 12.5, so it will be 20.5 Newton. 20.5 Newton. So value of normal force which is acting on this object of 1 kg at this instant is 20.5 Newton. Okay, 8 plus 12.5. Got it? So this will be the answer for this 7th question. Okay, let us try another question now. Let's try one more question. Okay, let's increase the level now. Okay, let us increase the level a little bit. Okay, so 8th question. In 8th question, what we have is we have a table. On this table, we have hinged a string, a rope, and with this rope, we have attached a block of mass m. Okay, and this whole thing is kept on a table. Okay, and this object has been given a velocity, a initial velocity v naught. This is the initial velocity at t equal to 0. A velocity v naught is given as shown in the figure. Okay, so what it will do is it will do horizontal circular motion. In this case, it will be horizontal plane on which it will do circular motion. Okay, this time I am giving you frictional coefficient as well. So frictional coefficient of this situation is mu. Frictional coefficient between this box and the table is given mu. Okay, length of this rope you can take it as L. Okay, mass is given m, v naught is the initial velocity, length of the rope is given L, frictional coefficient is given mu. Now the first question over here is, what will be the time in which this block will come to rest? First question is to find the time in which the block will come in at rest. So first of all, try to think, why will it come to rest? So as soon as you have given the velocity, who would want this box to stop? Friction never wants separation between the two objects. So over here, friction cannot move the table with the block. So what it will do is, it will try to stop the block. Are you getting it? It will try to stop the block. Okay, now to stop the block, how should we apply friction? So if you want to stop the friction, if you want to stop the block, the friction has to be applied exactly in the opposite direction of this velocity. Try to understand, the frictional force has to be applied exactly opposite to the velocity. Okay, but if you think carefully, this direction of velocity will keep on changing, right? The magnitude will also keep on changing because of this force which is in the opposite direction, and the direction will also change. And as the direction of velocity will keep on changing, while doing this circular motion on the horizontal plane, okay, please assume the table to be big. Okay, it will not fall off, it will be on the table only. Okay, so as the direction of the velocity is changing, the direction of this frictional value will also keep on changing, and it will make sure that it is always in the opposite direction of velocity. Why it has to be in the opposite direction of velocity? Because if it is in the opposite direction of velocity, it will deaccelerate the block and finally it will stop. If you choose any other direction of friction, it is useless. What does friction wants? Friction wants to stop this block, and to stop this block, the best direction of friction has to be exactly opposite to the velocity at that particular instant. Okay, so it will be always opposite to the velocity. Now what I am doing over here is, first of all, I am drawing FBD. Okay, so let us draw free body diagram. So free body diagram, it will look something like this. So this side it will be tension, okay, and this side it will be frictional force. And it is moving, it is sliding, so it will be kinetic friction, so mu into n. Okay, mg over here, so I am drawing the diagram from top. Okay, this is my top view of FBD, top view. Okay, so from top, mg will be inside the screen. From top, if you see, mg will be inside the screen, so mg direction is like this. This is the direction of mg, and normal force will be outside the screen. Cross means inside the screen, dot means outside the screen. Normal is outside the screen, upwards, and mg is downwards, inside the screen. Okay, I'm drawing the top view of free body diagram. Okay, so these are the actual forces over here, but let us assume that, let us use pseudo force as well, centrifugal force. That is centrifugal force. So if I draw centrifugal force, it will be outside the center part, and the value will be mv square by l. Okay, now try to understand, as soon as I have applied pseudo force, this mv square by l, is there a circular motion? No, there is no circular motion. As soon as I have applied the centrifugal force, tension now has been balanced by mv square by r, which was earlier giving me centripetal acceleration. Try to understand. Now circular motion is not happening. Now what is happening over here is, now this tension and this tension value, this tension over here and this mv square by l, these both are balanced now. So circular motion is out of picture. Now what we have is, we have a block whose initial velocity, sorry guys, just a second. Now what we have is, we have a block whose initial velocity is given v naught. This is the initial velocity. Okay, and force on this block is given as mu into normal. Okay, and what is the value of normal? Normal value will be mg, because in the vertical direction, if you see over here, normal is outwards and mg is inwards, so these both has to balance each other. The box is neither jumping off the table nor it is getting inside the table, so mg and normal is also balancing each other in a way. Okay, so normal is equals to mg, so this force will become equals to mu mg. So this is the frictional force which is acting over here. Okay, this is the frictional force which is acting over here. Due to this, there will be a deceleration. And what will be the value of that deceleration? The value of that deceleration the value of that deceleration will be mu mg divided by m, force divided by mass, force divided by mass, force divided by mass. So mu into g. So mu g is the deceleration which will be acting on this block throughout the motion. This frictional force which is acting, it is always in the opposite direction of velocity. It is always in the opposite direction of velocity. Are you getting it? So as this box will keep on moving, this mu n force will always be in this direction only, because now what we have done is we have equated tension and mv square by L, or we have used centrifugal force. Hence we don't need to consider circular motion. We can simply assume a straight line motion with initial velocity v0, final velocity 0 because it has to stop, and deceleration to reduce this velocity to 0 is nothing but mu g. So what I will do is I will simply apply v is equal to u plus at. V is equals to u plus at. Final velocity has to be 0. Initial velocity is given v0. Acceleration in the opposite direction is mu g. So I will write minus mu g. Okay. And t is the time in which it will stop. So if you solve this, it will become how much? v0 divided by mu g. v0 divided by mu g. So the time in which the block will come to rest is v0 divided by mu g. v0 divided by mu g. This is the time in which the block will come to rest. Now the second part of this question is how much distance it will travel before coming to rest. How much distance it will travel before coming to rest. So let's come to the second part. Wherever you feel like pausing, please pause, note down the answers, or rewind, check the solution again, hear me clearly, okay, hear me out properly, okay. So next part is how much distance will be traveled before coming to rest. Okay, so over here also I will just assume that there is a block which started with initial velocity v0. Acceleration for this block was mu into g in backward direction throughout the motion. Okay, over here also I am considering simple straight line motion. Okay, straight line motion. Initial velocity v0 and deceleration is mu g. Okay, so the displacement of this straight line motion as soon as it comes to rest, that will be same as the distance traveled. Are you getting it? Because till that time where it is coming to rest, it is not turning back. So displacement and distance will become equal. So I will simply apply S is equals to ut plus half at square. S is equals to ut plus half at square. So according to this equation, what I will get is initial velocity v0. Time I have already figured out. What was the time? The time which I figured out was v0 by v0 by mu g. The time was v0 by mu g. Okay, so I will write over here v0 multiplied by v0 divided by mu g. Acceleration is minus mu g. So I will write minus mu g multiplied by time square. Minus mu g multiplied by time square. Time is v0 by mu g. So square, if you do the square, it will become v0 square by mu square g square. Mu square g square, let me write whole square like this. Okay, so if you solve this out, this mu g and this square will get cancelled. Okay, so it will become half v0 square divided by mu g. If you solve this total thing will come out to be half of v0 square divided by mu g. Half of v0 square divided by mu g. Half of v0 square divided by mu g. Done. So the time taken is coming out to be v0 divided by mu g. The distance traveled before stopping is coming out to be half of v0 square by mu g. Check it out. And in both the cases, I have simply assumed that it is a straight line motion. with a constant acceleration mu into n, with a constant deceleration mu into n, with a constant deceleration mu into n. Mu is also not changing, n is also not changing. Mu will be mu only, n will be mg. Okay, both are constant. So acceleration in total, acceleration overall, mu g will also remain constant. The next part and the last part of this question is, what will be the angular displacement before it comes to rest? What will be the angular displacement before it comes to rest? Okay, so if you see over here, it will move only in one particular direction. It will do circular motion only in one particular direction. In this case, it will be anti-clockwise direction. Okay, it will not turn back and start doing circular motion in clockwise direction. It will only do circular motion in anti-clockwise direction. So over here, theta will be only in one particular direction. So what I will do is I will directly over here, what I will do is I will use the equation theta is equals to omega initial multiplied by t plus half of alpha t square, which is a equation corresponding to s is equals to ut plus half at square. In the circular motion format, I am using s is equal to ut plus half at square equation in circular motion format. In circular motion format, let's try it out. Let's try that out. So angular displacement, third part of the question is to find out angular displacement theta before it comes to rest. So I will directly use theta is equals to omega initial into time plus half of alpha t square. This is the equation corresponding to s is equals to ut plus half at square. Check it out. The only difference is that is for linear motion, this is for circular motion. And both are for constant accelerations. That is for constant linear acceleration. This is for constant angular acceleration. Okay, and over here we have constant angular acceleration. That's why we can use this. So initial omega, what will be initial omega? Initially speed is v naught. Okay, so omega will be v naught by L. Multiplied by time taken for this whole motion. That was v naught by mu g. Then alpha, what will be alpha? Alpha will be a tangential divided by r. And over here, this friction, the acceleration which is given by the friction, this mu g, is nothing but tangential acceleration. Check it out. This acceleration which is given by tension over here in this situation is nothing but tangential acceleration. Okay, because circle over here is formed something like this. And tension is in this particular direction. So it will be a tangential acceleration. So this tangential acceleration divided by radius, which is L over here in this situation, will give you alpha. Okay, so I can write over here very easily minus of half mu g divided by L, which will be alpha, multiplied by v naught by mu g. So if you solve this, what will you get? You will get mu g, sorry, this will be square, v naught divided by mu g square. Okay, so this mu g will get cancelled. Over here also v square by L. Okay, so the answer will come out to be v naught square divided by 2 mu g L. This is what I am getting. V naught square divided by 2 mu g L. Okay, this is my total theta before the block stops. Check it out. Check out all the three parts. In first two parts, I have simply assumed straight line motion. I have neglected circular motion by applying centrifugal force. I have directly assumed a straight line motion and figured out the answers using the equations corresponding to straight line motion. But for angular displacement, I have to use angular displacement equation. I don't have any other option. Okay. Now, ninth question is very interesting. Okay, let's come to the ninth question. Let's come to the ninth question, guys. Let's come to the ninth question. In the ninth question, what is given to me is a death well. Okay, I hope that you all have heard of this death well. Okay, it's a very risky game. Okay, so this type of a hollow cylinder is there. Okay, death well. Okay, so you might have heard, right, the stunt, the you might have seen maybe, or you might have heard about this death well, in which what they do is they run a bike in a circular path in this death well, creating a horizontal circle. Okay, creating a horizontal circle. It's very risky. It is really risky, guys. So they are actually riding a bike. They are actually riding a bike like this. Okay, they are actually riding a bike like this. So there is a very high risk over here. Okay, there is a very high risk over here like this. They are riding a bike like this in this situation like this. Okay, and they are forming a horizontal circle over here. They are forming a horizontal circle over here. So this type of situation is given to me. Okay, this type of situation is given to me. Okay, so what is happening over here is, but over here we are not making a bike move over here. What we are doing is we are revolving, or we are rotating this death well itself. This death well is moving with omega, which is a constant. Okay, it's not varying. There is no alpha, only omega, constant omega. Okay, and we have kept a box over here. We have kept a box over here on the wall. Okay, and this this box is not attached to the wall of this death well. This box is not attached. They are not attached. They are not fixed. They are not glued with each other. Okay, so if they are not glued with each other, don't you think that it will fall? It's not sure, guys. It's not sure. We cannot be sure that it will fall. Why? Because there is a angular velocity omega. So if omega is sufficient enough, then there is a chance. If omega is sufficient enough, then there is a chance that this block will not fall if friction is present. Okay, friction has to be there. Otherwise, who will save it? So friction on this system is given as mu. Frictional coefficient of this system is given as mu, and radius, let us consider it as r. Okay, radius of this hollow cylinder, hollow death well, let us consider it as r. So the question which is asked over here is, what is the minimum value of omega for which this block will not fall? Take the mass of the block as m. Okay, you have to find in this question what is the minimum omega minimum for the block to stay at the position. Try to feel it. If the omega is less, then what will happen? The block will start slipping down. We'll understand it properly, but it's very easy to understand it. Like it's very easy to feel it. Okay, it's not at all difficult. Okay, most of the students can feel it even without using the mathematical equations. Okay, if omega is very less, there is a chance that this block will start slipping downwards. But if omega is sufficient, then this box can stay at its position, even if you have not glued it. Okay, so if you want to understand it mathematically, then what we will do is we will draw first free body diagram. So if we draw free body diagram of this block, there will be mg which will be acting downwards. Okay, normal will be acted like this. Okay, normal will be acted like this, and circle will be formed in horizontal plane like this. Okay, so this normal is the one which is providing centripetal force actually. Okay, but over here we will not do the question using centripetal force. We will directly apply a centrifugal force, m omega square r. We have directly applied a centrifugal force. Okay, now which force is trying to push the block downwards? Mg. The force which is trying to push the box downwards is mg, and the force which can help this block to stay where it is nothing but friction. Friction is the force which does not want separation. Friction is the force which does not want separation. So it will try its best to hold on to this mg. Try to understand. So friction will try to hold mg, And what is the value of friction? Value of friction is mu into n. The maximum value of static friction is mu into n. Okay, so if there is a sufficient normal force, then only this mu n, which is the maximum friction, can hold mg. Try to understand. See, if you want to balance mg, you should have sufficient friction. The maximum force this friction can provide, the maximum force which this friction can provide, after this it will give up. Okay, so what we are looking for over here is minimum omega, right? So for that we have to consider maximum friction which is applied over here. Okay, after this mg will not be able to get balanced. After this the block will definitely fall. So over here let us consider the friction force which is applied is maximum. After this block will definitely fall. So to apply maximum friction, the value of friction will be mu into n. Value of friction should be mu into n. Now n value is equals to m omega square r, because if I have applied pseudo force along this line, then forces should be balanced, right? So normal should be equal to m omega square r. Now if normal is equals to m omega square r, don't you think that this normal is dependent on omega? So if omega is not sufficient, then normal will be not sufficient. If normal is not sufficient, then this mu n will not be sufficient. Try to understand, this is a whole chain. If omega is sufficient, then normal will be sufficient. And if normal is sufficient, then this friction will be sufficient. Are you getting it? So let us say that we are using maximum friction, which is mu into n. So this is the last condition where it will stay. So for this we are finding out the extreme condition of n, and for this we are actually finding out the extreme condition of omega. So if omega is greater than this extreme condition, normal will be higher and this friction max value will also be higher. Then with less friction only it will be safe. With less friction only it will be safe. But what we want in this question is minimum value of omega. What we want in this question is minimum value of omega. For that we will have to use maximum friction over here, so that we can find out the minimum omega. Okay, so maximum friction over here, F max, maximum friction in this situation can be mu into n, and normal force over here is m omega square r. So this is the maximum friction value which can be applied. This is the maximum friction value which can be applied over here. After this block will start falling. After this the block will start falling. Okay. Now if this value is able to balance mg, if this value is able to balance mg, then my work is done. Okay. Then my work is done. So for balancing mg, the value of omega which we will get will be m cancel. So this will be under root g divided by mu r, under root g divided by mu r. This is the minimum omega. This is the minimum omega for which my block will be balanced over here. My block will be balanced over here. If omega is lesser than this, if omega is lesser than this, then in that case, even the maximum value of friction, try to understand, if omega is less than this, then even the maximum value of friction will not be able to balance mg. Please understand. Okay, over here sometimes people get confused. If we are using maximum friction, then why are we getting minimum omega? It is because over here I have used maximum friction mu n value, okay, and I have equated it to this omega, this m mu m omega square r. Are you getting it? So over here what we are doing basically is we are trying to figure out the maximum value of friction. We are trying to balance the maximum value of friction with mg. This is the limiting case for balancing mg, right? And corresponding to this, whatever omega is coming, that is actually the omega which can provide this last value of friction. If the value of friction is lesser than this, then omega is not sufficient, then friction will not be sufficient to balance this. Try to understand. Okay, so as soon as the omega value becomes lesser than this, then even the maximum value of friction, which is mu n, will become lesser than mg, and hence it will not be balanced, and hence it will not be balanced. This is as simple as that. Okay, so this is my death well question. Last question for this session. Okay. So in this last question, what I have is, I have taken a plank, and this plank is rotating about this axis. Okay. This plank is rotating about this axis. Okay. Frictional coefficient over here is given as mu. Mu is the frictional coefficient. Mass of the block which is kept over here is m. M is the mass of the block which is kept over here. This distance is L. This distance is L. Okay. So this is the whole situation. Mass is given, mu is given, this distance is also given. So circular motion in this case will be in horizontal plane. Okay. Circular motion in this case will be horizontal plane, in the horizontal plane. Circular motion over here will be in horizontal plane. Okay. Like this. This is how it will move. Okay. This is how it will move. Okay. Now first part of the question is, if we move this plank with a constant omega, what is the maximum omega for which the block will not slip? Okay, we have to find maximum value of omega for which there is no slipping, So try to understand first that what is happening over here. So as soon as my plank starts to do circular motion, this block will also try to move with it. Why? Because friction is there. Okay, and friction will make sure till its last breath that they both are together. So to make sure that they both are together, friction this time will try to move the block instead of stopping it. Friction this time will try to move the block instead of stopping this. So over here, the friction force is the one which is giving omega to this block M. Friction is the force which will give omega to this block M. Now what is the maximum omega for which this friction is sufficient? So in this case, what we have to find is the maximum omega for which friction is there to provide the required centripetal force. So over here, if I draw free body diagram of this block, let me draw free body diagram of this block. Okay, I am drawing the top view. Again, I am drawing the top view. Okay, so if you see from the top, friction will look something like this. Friction will be inside. At this point, friction will be inside. Okay, which will provide me the centripetal force. Okay, friction will be inside, which will provide me the centripetal force. Mg will be downwards. Mg will be like this, and normal will be upwards. Normal will be out of the screen, mg will be inside the screen. But I don't want to deal with centripetal force, so I will directly apply centrifugal force. So m omega square L. Okay, it is capital L. Let us write capital L only. M omega square L. This is the situation. Okay, now what I can do is I can simply assume that the frictional value over here is maximum. Okay, so let us assume that frictional value acting over here is maximum, and this maximum value we will equate it to this. Okay, after this friction will give up. Okay, so from here whatever omega we will find, that will be the maximum omega till which friction can hold this block. Okay, so I will simply write friction equals to m omega square L, again capital L. You have to write capital L, and friction value will be mu into n. N over here will be equal to mg, because this box is not going inside the table or it is not jumping off the table. So mu multiplied by mg is equals to m omega square L. M cancel. So omega maximum value which I am getting over here, the maximum value of omega which I am getting over here is simply cancel. So this will become under root of mu g by L. So this is the maximum value of omega which I am getting for which this block will stay on this plank. This block will stay on this plank. For which this block will stay on this plank. Second part of the question is a little tricky. Okay. In the second part, what is given is that initially there is no angular velocity. There is no omega. Okay. Omega initial is given 0. In the second part of the same question, omega initial is given 0 and alpha is given. Okay. Angular acceleration is given, and this alpha you can assume it to be constant. Constant angular acceleration is given in this situation. Okay. So what will happen? The omega will start increasing. Slowly it will start increasing. Okay. And at one particular time and at one particular instant, when the omega is good enough, then friction force will not be able to balance m omega square r and it will start slipping. Okay. In this situation, omega will gradually increase and at one particular instant it will start slipping when the friction is not able to hold it. Okay. Now, first of all, the answer of omega for which it will start slipping will not be same as this. It will not be same as this. Okay. Right now, you might feel that it will be same as this. Okay. But after the answer is there, then you will be definitely sure that it is not same, because the answer is not going to come same. Okay. But right now only you should be able to feel that the answer will not come same. The answer will not come same. And the reason is, in the last case, it was not accelerated. It was not tangentially accelerated. Try to understand. In the last situation, the M box did not have any tangential acceleration. Friction, the only work for friction was to provide centripetal force. But over here, this plank is having tangential acceleration also, right? At that point, alpha into L. The plank is not only having centripetal acceleration at that point where box is kept, it is also having tangential acceleration. Now, who will provide this tangential acceleration? Friction only. So this time friction is not only providing centripetal acceleration, friction is also providing tangential acceleration. Hence, the force of friction has been divided now. The force of friction has been divided now, and whenever something is divided, it becomes lesser, it becomes weaker. So this time, omega for which it will start falling will be lesser than this one. Lesser. Oh. So it will be obviously lesser than this omega. Are you getting it? It's a little complicated, but let's see how we can solve it on paper. So what I will do is, again I will draw the top view. Again I will draw the top view of the block. If I draw top view of the block, one acceleration is towards the center. This is centripetal acceleration, and one is tangential acceleration, AT. These are the actual acceleration of the block at this point. Otherwise it will start slipping, because this time alpha is also there. Okay. So at the initial starting point, this AC is not there, because omega square r will become 0. Okay. But after some time when omega is increased, then AC will also come into picture. So let us assume that this is the instant when the block is about to start slipping. This is the instant when the block is about to start slipping. Okay. So at this instant, AT will be some alpha into, not some alpha, this alpha. Why some alpha? This alpha, right? This alpha into L, and AC will be how much? AC will be omega at that particular point squared multiplied by L, omega square R. Okay. So this is the centripetal acceleration, and this is the tangential acceleration for the point when the block is about to start slipping. For the point when the block is about to start slipping. Okay. Now over here, after this time, after let's say this is some t time. Okay. When the block is about to start slipping. Okay. Block is about to start slipping. The block is about to start slipping. So at this instant, omega square L is the centripetal acceleration, alpha into L is the tangential acceleration. These are the accelerations. Okay. And at this instant, the block is about to start slipping. At this instant, the block is about to start slipping. Okay, so let us first find out the net acceleration. So net acceleration over here, if you see, will be under root of, it will be under root of AC square plus AT square. Now AC square is omega to the power 4 L square plus AT will be alpha square and L square. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? This is my net acceleration of this block. And who is providing this net acceleration? Who is providing this net acceleration? Friction. This time friction is not only providing centripetal force, it is also providing tangential force. Okay, so this F net, if I write F net acting on this block, F net on this block is nothing but this whole thing which is written A net multiplied by mass of the block. This is my F net. This is my F net on the block. If this block has to start moving with this plank, this is my F net on the block. If this block has to keep moving with this plank, and this is the condition, this is the final condition which I have assumed over here. At this condition, at this point, the block will just start slipping. The block will just start slipping. Okay, so over here, if you see, who is providing this net force? Who is providing this net force? Only friction is there, right? Over here, the only force which can provide this net force is friction. So I can simply equate this force. To frictional force, which is equals to mu into n. N will be equals to mass into g. Again, mg inside, normal outside. Mg inside, normal outside. So n equals to mass into g. So mu mg. Now done. So if you replace mu mg, if you equate mu mg with this expression, then you will get the omega value. At which the block will start slipping. So let us write it down and let's see what will be the answer. Mu mg multiplied by this whole square multiplied by m. So mm will get cancelled. Okay, m cancel. Okay, and this square is this one. Okay, I want to find omega. Okay, so square both the sides, so it will become mu square g square is equals to omega 4 L square plus alpha square L square. Bring alpha square L square on this side and L square again on this side, and then take 1/4 root. Okay, so omega will come out to be mu square g square. Then we have got alpha square L square on this side, then again L square on this side. Check it out. We have first got mu square g square, very good, mu square g square, then minus alpha square L square, very good, divided by L square, very good, then power 1/4. This is the value of omega at which it will start falling. Now this is the value of omega at the time when the box will start slipping. Okay, and if you see carefully, the value of omega this time is lesser. Okay, the value of omega this time is lesser. Check it out. Earlier it was under root of mu g by L. This time it is mu square g square minus this factor alpha square L square also is there, right? This factor which is there, alpha square L square, it is getting subtracted. If it is getting subtracted, it is somehow making this omega, for which it is starting to fall, lesser compared to this one. And this is what we discussed in the starting also. Because friction is providing tangential force also, hence it is getting divided. So the value of omega at which it will start slipping, it has to be lesser. This time. Okay, it has to be lesser this time. So this is the answer for the last part of last question. So I hope guys you enjoyed this video. Okay, and let's meet in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care and sayonara.